Hey guys, so I'm gonna break down Jake's song "I'm Not Okay" on the piano. And if you're playing along with the original track, they detuned that MIDI piano, so it's gonna sound off if you're trying to play along with it. So you either got to play along on a digital piano or software that you can tweak the tuning down, or just enjoy it, by yourself, which is what I'm doing here. And I want to mention two channels that kind of helped me figure out a few of these things. One's by Rockstar Beats. They just remove the vocal, so it's a little easier to hear some of these intricate lines. It's just called "I'm Not Okay" instrumental. And the other channel, "I'm Not Okay" slowed instrumental by Girl DZ. That channel, it's in a different key because they slowed it down, but it preserves the integrity of the audio. So you can't play along to it necessarily, but it helps you hear some of the really tricky changes that are happening. So anyway, let's dive in here. Intro. So I'll kind of go hand by hand on some of these parts. The right hand's here, that minor scale. Left hand is doing that. So we're starting here. So that's the gist of it. It's nice because the right hand is staying on that scale, and the left hand, the chords are just moving around it. And there's a couple of really subtle parts that are a little tricky. It's like on the MIDI track, they must have just had them so soft on some of these, like this part. Let's see. This part, that one right there, it's there if you listen. It's just really soft. It kind of sounds like, so it's like the softest one ever there, and then the harder velocity one comes when you hit that E flat. So it's like, so that's the gist of the intro. Okay, so now the verse. Left hand's doing this. So it's doing that. Single notes on the right hand, so kind of easy to focus on the left hand with just these single notes going on. And the pattern, you're playing 5 notes in your right hand, and then you pause, you hold them out, and then there's like 2 again, and then he picks back up. So I'll show you here. So So the right hand drops out there. Left hand, you're playing this F minor triad. And when you come back in, this is like a straight time, and this one's kind of triplets. So it's a little tricky. The left hand's gonna do this by itself 4 times, right? And then you're here. So you're gonna wanna shift. That's probably the easiest fingering right there. And also with the sustain pedal, it's really touchy because you really don't, you're kind of trying to play that part with no sustain and then kick the sustain in here, because otherwise you're going to have some nasty notes hanging over. 3, 4. It's actually really hard to keep the sustain out. 2, 3, 4. Sorry. 2, 3. That part's tough. I'm going too fast. So you're right here. So ideally, with the sustain, you just kind of have to hold your notes a little longer in your left hand. 2, 3. And the left hand kind of finishes that riff a little before the right hand, but the C's hit at the same time. So it's a little funky. It sounds great. It's just a little tricky to replicate. So one last time. I know I've done this like 8 times, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So like that. And then you're getting ready for this really tough, quick, quiet part. Now, there's 2 ways to play this, okay? So it's doing that. You can play this 4-note thing with just your left hand. That's a little harder for me than using my right. So check this out. So that's the first one. The tricky part is this A right here is super quiet and delicate. So that's kind of the challenge, the biggest challenge of this passage, besides holding down the melody and, you know, helping out your left hand with that. So and then you're here. Sorry. So those are the first 2. I flubbed that last note. So you're right here. So that's number 1, number 2. Okay, so let's kind of look at those separately. So you're here. So. And there's a little syncopation at the end there, so. And there's a little pause there when you do that little grace note. So here, and this note again is super quiet. Yeah, I'm not playing this whole thing like note for note because it's really hard when you go up to speed. I'm just trying to cover out how it's happening, and then getting it perfect is up to you guys. So that third one, and then you're here, and then here. Okay, so we'll get into that next section in a minute. I'm just going to rehash this part. So one more time, it's right here, right? And then you tap this right before the next one. And that right there, I'll touch on that one more time. So there's a little pause in that left hand, which actually helps me kind of reset my mind for a second. So it's okay. So I was playing that way slower than the record. Obviously, getting it up to speed is just a matter of kind of practicing and increasing the tempo a little bit at a time, but it's kind of that. Right? And you're here. So here's a little problem. I don't have enough reach to do this chord is what's happening. It's right there where I left off. So he's bouncing on it. It's like, so my compromise is to kind of do this. I'm a fool, so naive. Go down low, which I don't have. Okay, so if you have that reach, that's great. I don't, so I'm kind of doing this. And you're down here, and you go down an octave. I'm hitting down there, which I don't have, but if you do, great. And then you're here. And like I said, that thumb is, it doesn't start toggling until that F sharp minor. So this part's straight. And then right here, you'll start to toggle your thumb. Okay, so that's basically it. If you want me to dissect that a little bit, I can. It's basically, you're there twice here, and then here on this this E7, and then you walk this, right? So you go, walk this pinky, and then this 7th, that's A over F sharp, and then just B. And if you want to play along with the end, right? So hopefully that helps you guys with the first half of the tune, which is really, really great. The last half gets real produced out, which is still cool if you want to play along. Right, there's that. And then I'm Not Okay part. Walks down all those triads. Yeah, so, I mean, I just did it, but, yeah, you guys got it. All right, well, I hope you enjoy, and